Hey, what's up everyone? Brad Chmielewski here, and this is episode 123 of Shatter The Vain. This is kind of a different episode. This one's pretty unique. I have Owens joining me. He's an analyst for GankStars. I know many people have probably seen his tweets, have checked out his very, very long blog posts he puts out. Some great information about the game. And GankStars right now is looking for a new analyst, so it's a perfect time to have him on and get anyone interested in that world who's thinking about applying. So we spend a lot of time just talking about being an analyst and Vainglory and what it means, what you need to know, how to get into it, all that kind of good stuff. That's a good portion of the episode because there really wasn't much news this week. There was a couple skins revealed. We don't have any more information about update 1.23 that should be coming any day now. It's got to be here, right? We need to play Gwen. So I'll probably be talking more about 1.23 on the next episode. So get ready for that. Keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I say we jump into this episode. This is a lot of great information Owens has. We'll mention two things before we get into it. Got to mention the Vainglory app. It was just featured in-game with myself and some other people, like following the Twitter of them. Vainglory app is fantastic. Get it, put it on your phone, put it on your tablet. It's a great companion app for Vainglory, and they're always providing awesome stats for the Evil 8 and all the tournaments that go on, and some really good blog posts too. Just like tons of information on the website, in the app, on the Twitter, lots of good stuff. So check that out. Got to mention the Patreon page, patreon.com/shatterthevain. If you're looking for ways to support the podcast, help me make it grow, make it better, go over there, support it up. Every little bit helps, means a lot. Anyone that's supporting, helping the show out, it's just awesome. So thank you. And thank you everyone who's listening to the show as we get to 123 episodes, almost 2 years of the podcast here. I can't believe it's been going that long. And keep going. The game's pretty awesome. Always fun stuff to talk about. So let's do it. Let's jump into this week's episode.
Shatter the Vain, a podcast about Vainglory.
This is the 123rd episode of Shatter the Vain. My name is Brad Chmielewski, and this is a podcast all about Vainglory. Every week, I try to break down the news, gameplay, game tips, and hopefully we can all become better players together. And every week, bring on new people from the community, people that love this game, help support it and grow it. And this week, I have Owens joining me. Welcome.
Hey, great to be here, man. Really excited for this. Love your podcast, love your show, and I'm such an honor to be here.
Yeah, thanks. We had a chance to chat, at the winter finals at Red Bull, right? For a brief moment.
Yeah, I drank so much Red Bull.
Yeah. The conversations were fast and furious.
Yeah.
But for people who missed that, or maybe don't follow you on Twitter, I'll include a link for anyone who doesn't do that. But yeah, please introduce yourself and know what you do in Vainglory, I guess.
Yeah, so my in-game name is Owens, and I started playing Vainglory in last year, so I guess 2015, after South by Southwest.
Okay.
And I'm a co-owner of GankStars, and I started as the lead analyst for GankStars. I kind of just got hooked on Vainglory by... I actually met the CEO of Vainglory, Bo, at South by Southwest.
Okay.
And I remember seeing Vainglory on the Apple Developer Conference.
Yeah.
Like on stage, and I thought it was like really cool. I was like, oh, finally, like a great game for iPad or iPhone is coming out. And then when I met him, he was like, oh yeah, download it right now. So I just downloaded it, started playing it, got hooked on it, and then I got to a point where I got really bored playing it, and it was kind of like my way to de-stress from work, like what I did after I was too tired to write any more software. And so I just started reaching out to different guilds. I didn't hear back from GankStars initially. I think a lot of people have said something like that, like we have a lot of applicants.
Right. Yeah.
And, so I had to do something to stand out. So what I started doing was blogging about Vainglory and blogging some strategies. I had always loved to, like when I was playing, I would always open a spreadsheet and try to figure out what the best builds were. And so I just started blogging that kind of stuff, and that's how I got noticed. I ended up meeting Alex, or Pwned by Ukrainian, in San Francisco because I was living in San Francisco.
Okay.
And he invited me to join and asked me to be the first analyst. So.
Oh, that's cool. So you weren't playing any other MOBAs or anything like that beforehand. This was kind of your first one.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. No, I never played LoL, but I played a lot of StarCraft too, actually, and StarCraft back in the day, when I was a young kid.
Okay. It does seem like you do a lot of startup stuff and you're in that world, and it seems like Vainglory, it sucks up a lot of time. Like it can be very addicting. I think that's just the MOBA genre and StarCraft as well. And you got sucked in then instantly because you were looking for the guilds and wanted to blog about it and stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was just like I needed sort of an outlet aside from the startup scene, because the startup scene, especially in San Francisco, is super competitive. There's a lot of like kind of bubble think going on. People, I think, sometimes have the wrong priorities, and I just needed sort of a way to kind of like have an outlet separate from that, where I could just kind of like be positive and enjoy like a hobby, I guess.
Okay.
And I actually noticed, I'd always been interested in esports, to be honest. Since I started watching, I started playing a lot of StarCraft 2 a year or so before that, and I'd watch the esports, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And my background is kind of in software and in events, so I thought it was like, actually, I could learn a lot from esports about how to improve my own events.
Okay.
Company, yeah.
So you still watch a lot of other esports? We'll get into the esports here in a minute, but so you were already like kind of familiar with the esports world beforehand?
Yeah, a little bit from StarCraft 2. So
nice. So then, as far as an analyst goes, like what does that take? Like, what is that? Like, I don't think a lot of people. Most of us just play the game and try to like get as many kills and win, right? That's kind of.
So an analyst is part of the support staff for the competitive teams. So our goal is to support the players the best we can, and that usually ends up helping them to research strategies, helping them to figure out the optimal build for a certain hero, helping them figure out, should they buy this item or that item, should they max this skill or that skill. So it's very mathematics-based, it's very quantitative.
Okay.
Because, it's one thing to kind of like, and I see this in the startup world too, like in the startup world you have like the idea guy who's like, oh, I have the best idea, but then like he can't build it, like he can't execute on that.
Sure.
Right. So to be a good analyst, you have to be like more the execution, and it's okay to be an idea guy, but we try to get the most ideas from the players. We really want to know what they're thinking about and try to act as like the execution for them to figure out which strategies are best.
Okay. Yeah, because like as a player, you can know the game and you can have the mechanics, but that time it was like, should I build this item versus this item, and at what point should I kind of be looking for this? That kind of is where the analyst kind of comes in, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's quite a bit of work, to figure out something very simple like, should I max, Glaive's B or his A first?
Yeah.
Like I did like a 5-page analysis on that, like considering all the different scenarios.
Okay. So I know at the winter finals, like the Rome Vox was something that came up that Gabe Bizzle was playing, and was that kind of your initial like help with that, or was that something they came with? Like, could this work? And then you ran the numbers. How does that
actually wasn't my idea, that one.
Okay. That
was totally, I think, Gabe and Fuji. But we did try another strategy that I recommended later, which was the cruel into the adagio.
Okay.
Because if you remember, at that time, adagio was like picked every single draft. So we do a lot of, actually, I would say probably 50% of our work actually when it comes to tournaments is drafting.
Okay.
Like we put a lot of effort into drafting. We want to really because if you get the right draft off the bat, you put your opponents on a bad pick or a hero that they're uncomfortable on, you're already like ahead of the game, right? So we spend a lot of time on drafting, and I came up with like this cruel thing, because at this point they just changed it so that his weakness stacks would decrease all damage from heroes instead of just weapon damage.
Right.
And it was like I forget the name of the comp, but it's basically like weakening your opponent. So, we thought that was a perfect counter adagio. We ended up losing that match actually very closely because of some, I think, misplays.
Okay.
But we scrimmaged with that before we were on stage quite a bit, and it worked every time. So, so that's kind of an example of some of the things that I do. We also have another analyst named Viziox, who's super talented. This guy is like, I think a sophomore in high school.
Right. Yeah.
Super young, but super, super talented. So I hope I can hire him someday for my company. So we'll see.
So do most of the teams and the guilds have an analyst, or is this something like GankStars is pretty unique to? Like just having this role, and especially two, and then looking for a third one.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams. Well, if you look in other esports, like all the pro teams have analysts for sure. In Vainglory, not as much. What you see is a lot of pro players are acting kind of as analysts.
Okay.
So, like FlashX considers himself the analyst of the team. And, he researches a lot of strategies. I know Sui Generis is, pretty into the strategy and the analysis of the game as well from Hammers. And I hear from a lot of analysts actually throughout the Vainglory community. A lot of people message me on Twitter. And so I do find like a lot of people are into it, and there's a lot of teams that are starting to have analysts now. But, for us, it's like, I think I was one of the first analysts on a pro team in Vainglory. Okay. And, we see it as a big way to offer more value to our players, because at the end of the day, like, you want to be able to be the best home for the players. It's really like the competition comes down to keeping the best players, retaining them, keeping them happy. And so for us, we see the analyst support team as a really important function for attracting good talent and keeping them happy on GankStars.
So you said like you kind of work with the players or even get ideas, so they may come to you and be like, is this a good idea? Like, I don't have time to test it. This is just a possibility I was thinking. I was in the shower and it came to me. Could we do this? And then you guys pull up the spreadsheets and like, well, if you look at this.
Yeah. So sometimes it's like a completely new strategy, and then sometimes it's like an optimization of what they're doing. Okay. So when Call the Meek was with GankStars, he asked me to optimize the glaive build for him. Okay. There was a time before VIPL when we were looking into like CP Saw, because Gabe Vizzle was like a big fan of CP Saw, and we wanted to see like what is the maximum health that a hero can have to one hit kill them with the shank. Okay. And what was like the ideal build for that? And that was like a really fun one to do, and it was a little bit complicated, but I remember like I ended up being able to get the like one hit kill shank up pretty high. I think it was like 75% health or like even 80% health depending on the shield.
Oh wow.
Where you could like one hit kill a hero with the shank. So.
Jeez. And so then are you also looking at like post game stuff, like what went wrong here? Like how do we draft it well, strategy, like where we kind of misstep? Are you adding to that as well?
Yeah, so I'm also like a backend developer, and I build a lot of web stuff. So we actually built like a website where we can add all of the YouTube video replays. Oh, cool. And on that site, like I set it up so that you can like create a bookmark on different parts of the video. Okay. And you can write comments on it. So we haven't been as active on that since I had to like take a break from Vainglory. Okay. But yeah, we have like a ton of videos on that, and then we go in there, the analysts, and we like write comments on what they did wrong and mistakes that they made. But I tend to find that the players have a pretty good intuition on the mistakes that they made. And so what I'm focusing more on now is trying to work, like the connection between the analysts and the players, I think is really key in terms of how much value you can add. Uh-huh. So I'm shifting my focus preparing for Worlds. Like we're doing really, really well right now with our two teams in NA and EU. So I'm shifting my focus more towards like working with the players directly and trying to get information from them about their strengths and weaknesses, and then come up with some plan or analysis to improve upon those. And it actually took a while for me to get to like a level of comfort with the players. I think that when you're a new analyst, one of the really hard things to do is just like prove yourself.
Sure.
Like You know, like when I came into GankStars, like I was working with like Iraqi and Gabe and Kulva Meek, you know, like we were the best team in the world at that time. So I really had to just kind of like, you know, not push the envelope too hard and just like kind of really add value. Whereas now I'm more in a position after having worked with them for a while where I can kind of like push back a little bit on some of their ideas or try to challenge them a little bit more. So
right, because
you know, it takes a while to build that trust.
Yeah, because they gotta trust you, and they also have to think that you're a confident player and your quality gameplay. But when I know you're busy, but you know the numbers, and you're not playing. Like there's a lot of that ego that goes into, well, you're not my same skill level, right? So you gotta kind of convince them, like, well, I just don't play that much, but I know the numbers, and I know what you should be doing.
Yeah, totally. And I think you're gonna find that most people who want to be an analyst aren't going to be as good as the pro players. I mean, then they would just be a pro. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not, right? Like it's a support role. You know what I'm saying, to be an analyst. And so, if you could be a pro, you probably would be if you had the time to play that much and you had the skill level to be that good. Otherwise, you're going to be an analyst. So I think this is going to be a common problem that most analysts are going to have is, you know, building that trust with their team, and it's going to take a while. You know, you can't build that trust overnight.
So GankStars is looking for a new analyst. I think you posted on a Google Doc or on Reddit about this new role you're looking for, because one of the analysts left or went back to school, just didn't have time, right?
Yeah. Wavernaut, who's really great analyst actually. You know, he's just taking a break from Vainglory, wants to focus on school. I think he's starting his senior year of college, so. You know, has to find a job and get his has some priorities. You know,
so what does it take to be an analyst? Like what for GankStars? Like what are you looking for?
Yeah, so I'm looking for someone who really has, first of all, passion for the game and passion to be an analyst. Second of all, someone who has enough experience with the game. I think it's going to be hard to be an analyst if you just started playing.
Okay.
You have to be, you know, probably paying attention to what's happening in the esports, and then someone who has a good background in logical thinking and mathematics. You know, you need to be able to prove your strategies. So, you know, we want everyone on the analyst team not to be an idea guy, but to be someone who's an executioner. Okay. Or someone who can execute, an executioner. Yeah. So those are kind of the three things, you know, the passion, the experience, and the skills to do it.
So what's the application form look like? Is there tests? Are you like quizzing them on different things, or just kind of you get a feel for them, like run some tests that you know, like I know what the numbers are, like what do you come out with?
Yeah, so we did that for the last round. For this round, we're looking more for, I think, video analysis. Okay. Because it's going to be more relevant for the players. So when I do the application process, I like to have the players directly involved with evaluating the potential fit of an analyst. And so for this one, it's pretty simple, the application part. There's a big assignment, which is to do a video analysis of one of the past matches, either for GankStars Cerberus or for GankStars Sirius. And so that analysis is probably going to be around 5 pages or more, but just like going through it, and I'm testing their ability to write, to think clearly, to observe, you know, the mistakes that GankStars has made and the mistakes that our opponents have made. And so and then throughout the process, Viziox and I are going in and we're writing comments on their analysis. Right. So I actually encourage people who maybe even aren't ready to be an analyst for GankStars yet to apply, because we really want to meet talented people early and start to work with them and help them. And, you know, because they might not be ready now, but let's say a year from now or 6 months from now, they might be ready. Right. And we want to be someone that can help them get to that level where they're ready. You know, now we want to start helping them. So we're going to go in and we're going to add a lot of feedback on the analysis. We're going to show them, like how to improve upon it. Okay. I'll probably do a blog post to summarize some of the recommendations that we made for players. So we want to, like, you know, it's a lot of work to apply to be an analyst. Yeah. It's really important to me that I'm able to add the equivalent amount of value to the candidates through the process, because we don't just want it to be like a process where we're getting all the value. we want to be a process where where GankStars can provide some value to everyone who puts the time in to apply.
Okay, but it's not a paid position. There was some
No.
people who I think thought this was a paid thing, and everyone at GankStars is paid or something.
Well, there was one person who applied, and this was just in like the first day. One person who applied who thought it was paid, and you know, then there was someone else who was like totally trolling on Reddit. I don't know. He had some kind of axe to grind, but that person noticed that the person asked that it was whether it was paid, and said that that person said, oh, like he wasted some hours and thought it was paid.
Okay.
And then that person who was like the troll like took that and like kept posting posts on Reddit about it. So.
Okay. So, but anyone that's applying should know that it's unpaid, and all that analysts and most people that help with GankStars aren't paid. So.
Yeah. So Pont's vision is actually to make the analyst role share in some of the winnings of our teams eventually. So there is an option, but the reason that someone should be doing this is not like to get paid for it, because to be honest, like if you if you had to be paid for this, you probably wouldn't be able to be paid nearly enough for the work that you're going to put in. It really has to be a passion project where you're looking to like work with really super talented people. That's one of the reasons why we keep the bar so high for our analysts, and we go through so much effort to vet them, because we want everyone to know that if you do get accepted, you're going to be working with really, really smart people.
Right.
And, you know, I find the benefit of working with really smart people on something that you enjoy doing to be a huge benefit. So
yeah, because being surrounded by better people make you a better person kind of idea. Like you only get better.
Exactly, yeah.
That was cool. So yeah, you were talking about the two teams in the esports team, GankStars. How do you think the esports scene of Vainglory is going and growing? I know you took a little bit of break. I'm not sure if you were watching or keeping up that closely with the last split or season even.
Yeah, so it was a little bit hard to pay attention during the summer because I've been in China since June.
Okay.
And if you watch Twitch online, like it's so slow, like it's unbearable.
Okay.
But even with like super fast internet, like I have the fastest internet you can get in China, but still it's like it's hard for internet companies to have a server in China because of like the politics of it.
Sure. Okay.
But I found a way to watch. Actually, if you watch on iPad, the native app is like a lot faster.
Oh, nice.
So I've been able to watch like all of the recent matchups and follow them pretty closely. But I think that to answer your question, I'm very optimistic about the Vainglory esports. Vainglory seems to be growing a lot. I don't know any of the insider information about how fast it's growing.
Right.
But I think the bottom line is it's a great product. It's a great game. I think that one of the barriers to the growth for Vainglory is maybe connectivity speed. Like when I was in, I travel a lot. When I was first in Thailand, like it was really hard to play. It was like too laggy.
Okay.
But then when I got a local SIM card, it was like fine to play. So I think that like the potential for Vainglory is huge because the mobile, like there's more people with smartphones than people with computers. So the market is potentially really big, but getting the word out there is I think what Vainglory really needs to do. Right now, it seems like they're really making a lot of progress in terms of releasing new heroes, releasing new skins. Like I can't stop buying skins. Like I have to buy them all. So
right.
I think what they're doing is working. So hopefully we're going to get to a point where they start maybe advertising it more, or it starts to really, really pick up.
Mm-hmm. I guess being in China, do you see that, like I think we're kind of in a bubble in our mobile game world here in the US where it's kind of sought as maybe just a kid's kind of game, just in general mobile games. Does China have a similar look on mobile games, or are they like their own kind of thought process there? Because there's no console games for a long time, so.
Yeah, true. Actually, like all the console games in China, consoles were actually banned in China for a while, but all the consoles here have to be like a special version because of the censorship. So like my PS4 cannot play games from US and cannot play games from Taiwan.
Okay.
And like if you want to play Overwatch here, there's a special Chinese Overwatch version because of the censorship laws.
Okay.
So I think that mobile here could be really big. I mean, I remember when Vainglory launched on the iPhone here, it was like the #1 game out of the gate. The problem is that Vainglory is not on Android here.
Oh,
so
really? Okay.
There's some other, like if you want to just go on iPhone, like the Chinese government, I think doesn't care that much because it's seen as like a phone for people who are more wealthy and like not as many people have iPhones here. Whereas if you want to go on Android, then you need to like have a joint venture with a local partner, and there's more regulation on it here. So the irony is that Vainglory is not even on Android yet, which is like the biggest opportunity in China. So
that's crazy. I didn't even know. I knew there was like some rules on having to get approval. Like that was some new mobile rule. It has to be submitted to them first before it goes out and something like that. So
yeah.
Interesting politics of China's gaming culture.
Yeah. But gaming is huge here. I mean, 50% of the market for League of Legends is China. And League of Legends is owned by a Chinese company now. It's owned by Tencent.
Yeah.
So the market for esports and for gaming in China is huge. I mean, for many years they had the one-child policy in China, so you can only have one kid here, and the result of that is that no one had anyone to play with.
Right. So they're all online gaming.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's a funny thing to think about.
Yeah.
So I guess you also mentioned your blog a little bit ago and how you possibly do something on that after this whole new analyst thing is all put together. It hasn't been updated for a while. I think your last post on there was about Gibbs leaving, and your posts are very long. They are very detailed and multiple pages in our Twitter like headline kind of world right now. But yeah, it's like, yeah, your blog is detailed. They are great reads. You were saying that was kind of your passion before the analyst, and kind of just to show and get some, I guess, support for the game out there, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I would just do it in my free time anyway. So, and actually, I expected when I started blogging, I didn't expect anyone to care about it. Like, I was just writing it for fun, and in my day to day, like in what I do in my career, I find it kind of hard to blog because I care so much about like I feel a lot of pressure like to get it if I'm wrong or something.
Okay.
But when I started blogging for Vainglory, it's like, I don't care. Like, people can like it, they don't have to like it, and that made it a lot easier to write. And then when I started posting on Reddit, I got really, really good feedback from the community. People really appreciated it, and that kind of got me more hooked on Vainglory for sure. The Vainglory community is super great, super positive, and I think it's the main reason why I put so much time into it, because of the community. There was a time where I would log onto my Vainglory Twitter and I'd log onto like my tech startup Twitter, and like you could just tell like that the Vainglory community is so much more positive.
Right,
like you have people like giving people shout outs. They're like, oh, this is so great, like I love you, and retweeting each other. And I go into tech and people are like, this person is wrong and this is the wrong way to do it, and yada yada yada. You could just like feel the positivity of the Vainglory community a lot more. And I think it's important to have positivity in your life to make you more creative and make you be able to achieve your potential.
Mm-hmm. So you wanted to just add to that and I guess uplift and help everyone learn a little bit, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, because it was so positive, I would enjoy doing it more.
Mm-hmm. I know that last post was about like Gibbs leaving. I know you were away for a while, but have you seen the community? Is it the same when you came back now, or do you feel like it's better or different? Like, because that was kind of a big moment in like I don't want to say icon, but a big person in the community, kind of just leaving and saying he's had enough. Also whining.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a lot of. I could really understand where he was coming from, because I participate in a lot of communities in my work where I've seen like at one time it was like really great and everyone is happy, and then over time, like either people got tired or they tried to grow too quickly, and then it like died basically.
Okay.
And so that really concerned me. But you know, I think that the Super Evil Megacorp is like super responsive and cares about the community a lot. I think when it comes to like playoff Beard, I think he does a really great job. And he's kind of like stuck between like he's like running all the esports stuff and he's like running all the community stuff. So he's probably spread like super thin, and you know things are going to fall through the cracks, like the things that Gibbs was complaining about. But you know, from my point of view, like I think the community is still super positive. You do see right now a lot of people are either taking a break or they're not playing Vainglory as much, which I think is natural because, you know, like if you do something for a long enough time period, like you're going to get a little bit bored of it,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah, we're
So
coming up on 2 years of the NA release, I think, here pretty soon, like about a month.
yeah, man. And like you've been doing your podcast and your show for like
About 2
so
years,
long,
yeah.
123rd episode. I mean, how do you feel about it, you know?
Yeah, I think the mobile gaming scene has changed a lot. We've seen a lot of great games come out, even like Clash Royale, and now we're seeing like Armajet and Pig Bang, and like just there's more mobile games that weren't there. And of course, you're gonna at some point you get tired of the grind, right? It's a game where you just grind and it never ends. MOBAs never end. So when you're playing like a Zelda or Mario game, you're kind of like, I beat it. Next. so I think that it's just a problem when you do something over and over again. I think just like with a job, at some point there's some days where you're like, I don't feel it today, I need to do something else. Like kind of treat it that way too.
Yeah, when it gets too repetitive, you know, it's hard to like attack it with the same aggressiveness or interest that you once had. So
but you feel like seeing that positivity now on your Twitter coming back, you still think it's there? You think it's
oh yeah, it's still super there. I mean, I think what the community really needs probably right now is Vainglory needs to somehow like reach the next level. You know, like I think part of the problem is like Vainglory was so successful like really early. Like when I first joined GankStars was like right after the first VIPL, where Vainglory was on national TV in Korea.
Yeah, that's
you know
amazing.
What I'm saying? Like, so like that was like a year ago, right? So a year ago we were already on national television in Korea. You know, where do we go next from there?
Right.
Right.
Do you think the Worlds coming up here will have an impact at all? Do you think they'll kind of be tests to see like, oh, do we get more people interested? Is it a big enough event and a big enough thing?
Yeah, you know, it could be because it's going to be in LA, right?
Yeah.
So I think that like if Vainglory can penetrate the US market more, get more attention within the US as an esport. Well, esports is heating up like crazy right now in the US. Like the 76ers just bought a team. A lot of these like sports franchises are moving into esports, and they're buying up teams, and esports is taking off. So if Vainglory can tap into that more, you know, that's a huge opportunity. I mean, as an esport, I think Vainglory is way more entertaining than League of Legends. It's simpler to learn. It's simpler to watch. The outplays are more interesting.
For sure.
And so, you know, like...
And to be able to pick it up instantly, like anyone who's watching can probably just get it within 15 minutes and be playing it.
Yeah, totally. Like, you know, I've introduced Vainglory to a lot of people who never played video games before, and they're like, oh, this is fun, and like I can play this, and like they could get good at it too from having never played video games. You know, like for a lot of people that never play video games, like they almost hate video games because like I find like if you play video games, it's either you play them or you don't, and you love them or you hate them. And usually it's because they just never played them, and like because everyone else loves them, they're like, oh well, I'm not a video game person, right?
Sure.
So, but I've introduced Vainglory to people who didn't play games, and they're like, this is awesome, and this is really fun. Mm-hmm. They still didn't think they were a video game person after that, but
they liked the game at least.
Yeah. So the potential is really big. We'll see if Worlds can make a big enough mark. But nonetheless, like I think what will happen is that Vainglory is going to keep growing. it's such a great product that when people play it, they get hooked, they recommend their friends, and mobile is so accessible that it's going to keep growing. And eventually, it will be at the level of like at least StarCraft 2, I think, and the prize pools will get bigger. It'll become more of a professional thing. It'll have an ecosystem. Once you have like an ecosystem that can self-sustain itself, like an ecosystem where, like for example, like sponsors are approaching you for Shatter the Vain, and they're like, writing you big checks to be on Shatter the Vain because,
if only that happened.
But seriously, like once people can actually make an income or make some revenue from what they're doing to support the community, that's when it becomes real.
Yeah.
Because right now, in Gibbs, for example, like he streamed for a long time, and the Vainglory still didn't reach a point where there was an ecosystem that you could make a business out of.
Right.
So eventually it'll get there just through growth alone. But those little wins where we get super excited about like, being in Korea or, certain events that happen, certain PR exposure help us to kind of like go against the grind for a little bit longer until we reach that point where the ecosystem is mature enough to support like people who are doing the work and actually making some type of lifestyle or business out of what they're doing.
So the small wins, like the ESPN write-up and things like that, we all can all rally behind it. Like, all right, we're doing something good here. Let's keep going.
Exactly. It almost just comes down to morale until you really make it.
Yeah, that's cool. Anything like, are you guys preparing? I got a little bit of news, but one more question about the Worlds thing. Are you guys, as analysts, are you preparing anything like special? Are you hoping to pull something out big for Worlds? Like, are you trying to look and see what's been happening in these splits? Like, what can we do different to just like mix things? I'm sure that's always thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just judging by our performance the past 2 days, I mean, if our analyst team can really keep our players at 100% or maybe increase them to 105%, 110%, I really believe that we're going to come away with Worlds. So I'm super excited. I mean, it feels like GankStars is on its way back up.
Because I love seeing always those surprise picks, like even the Rome Taco, the Rome Vox.
Oh, yeah.
And today, I think Von C on Team Solo Mid busted out a Weapon Samuel, which is like, what? I'm just not thinking about that stuff sometimes. That's just a normal player.
Yeah, well, the surprise picks, you usually want to pull those out when you're not the favored to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you pull those out when you need to take a risk in order to win.
Okay.
So, like, we'll see. Like, we might keep a couple aces up our sleeves. We might have a couple, like, surprise picks going into Worlds. But otherwise, we're just going to play, like, the fundamentals. Like, really, really good fundamentals. Be better at the fundamentals than anybody else. And, you're most likely to come away with the win.
Cool. Nice. Well, that's awesome. I got a couple little news things that we can chat about some skins that are coming out. So let's jump into those.
Great.
Vainglory News.
So the first skin that got announced this past week, there really wasn't a lot of news. I think 1.23 is going to drop any day now, so we'll be seeing that. But we got news on Love Bites Blackfeather, which is kind of like our new Halloween skin. Looks pretty fun. And then we got a new Adagio Tier 2 skin that's getting released. So again, with this trend of a second tiered skin getting released out of order, and they've kind of talked about this before, like it gives artists the freedom to not have to design in like Tier 1, then 2, then 3. But I wanted to chat about these two skins and about the card tier system as far as like a business standpoint too. Like, do you think this tier system is working? It seems like they are moving away from it in some degree. Like this Tier 3 Lyra that was released, and the Lance one, and now this Adagio one. It's like, why do we have tiered skins?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really think the Tier 2 skins make much sense, or the the tier 1 ones, I mean, yeah, I mean, like once you have a tier 3 skin, you're not going to use the tier 1 or tier 2 skins.
Right.
I mean,
I only see them when I play on another account that doesn't have a tier 3 and it's got a tier 1. I'm like, oh, that's what that one looks like. That's cool.
yeah. I mean, the tier 1 skins are really cheap and easy to buy. I mean, it's like 900 ice. So I usually buy a lot of the tier 1 skins.
Okay.
But you know, I think tier 1 is a little bit cool because it's really cheap, and the tier 3 skins are a lot more expensive. But I don't really see the point of tier 2 skins because, from my point of view, like the tier 1 skin actually is like easy to get, makes me feel like a little bit better about playing.
Okay.
You know, if I'm playing a hero a lot, sometimes I'm like, fuck, I just want to get the tier 1 skin and like change it up a little bit. But in terms of getting like the tier 2 skin, it's just on the way to the tier 3 skin. And actually, I don't think I've ever unlocked a tier 2 skin just for the tier 2 skin. Like usually what happens is I'll unlock the tier 1 skin and then I'm like, damn, I really want the tier 3 skin for this hero. And so I like buy from the chest.
To grind to get, you had to before buy all the cards for tier 2 and then get tier 3.
Yeah, exactly. So I've never played on a tier 2 skin, I don't think.
Okay. So do you think this would be a smart move for them to kind of get rid of the tiered system altogether, have Adagio skins, Black Feather skins? They cost different money depending on their awesomeness. Like tier 3 skins are $30 and tier 1, or what were tier 1 skins look like the 900 ice and anyone can grab them. It seems yeah, it seems like they'll get more money too because people be like, well, I'm just gonna buy the tier 3 right away. I'll spend $30. Screw it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that SCMC is probably doing a great job at monetizing right now, and I hope that's going to give them the leverage to like expand the game a lot. So I think it's going well. I mean, for me, over time, I've been like the more I play, the more skins I get, and the more I feel like a part of the community.
Okay.
The more skins I get, because when I first joined GankStars, I didn't have a single skin. Like, I just didn't care. Like I was just like, why would I waste money on a skin?
Okay.
But then as I became more part of the community, I started to appreciate SCMC more for giving me like a free game, and I almost felt like I owed them.
Okay.
So a lot of the reasons why I get skins is like, I'm like, oh, well, in my mind, I justify it by being like, I've gotten like so much value out of this that it's like just giving like a small donation almost to the game is like buying a skin for me.
Right. Then you realize you spent $500 on a free game and you're like, uh-oh. That's nice.
Yeah, maybe like over the course of a year or something.
But yeah, if you're getting value out of it, it's like, you know, buying a cup of coffee, kind of same idea. Like, wow, this is enjoyable. This filled my 20 minutes or 2 days here. Here's $5 kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a free, office space where they sell you coffee.
Right. There you go. So I think this trend of these skins are going to continue, and we're just going to see kind of this mix up and maybe the removal of the tiered system at some point. Who knows? Like, it just seems like they're experimenting and trying things. They always seem to be trying to test the waters on what works and like then release it.
Yeah, that's the lean way.
Yeah. Test and iterate and move forward. Yeah. Then the last bit of news, I always like to mention the free hero rotation. This week, decent lineup and kind of a fun one that keeps popping up. Black Feather is in this rotation, and he is making a slight comeback on the fold lately. And I don't know if it's because he's in the free hero rotation or if he is a good counter to some of the heroes out there. But yeah, I haven't seen him a lot more. Also have Celeste, Petal, Vox, Catherine, and Fortress. So not a bad lineup. Like, Fortress I've been having some fun with. I think he's an underrated hero that a lot of people aren't playing right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have a hero or role that you often play when you actually have time to jump in there?
Yeah. I mainly play. I'm playing on the China server, so I don't have a ton of friends on the China server. If you're on the China server, please add me as a friend. Just
I need
Owens
friends.
with a capital Owens with a capital O and then capital CN. But I try to play lane because either lane or support. Sometimes I'll play jungle if I'm just bored. I like to play Taka and kind of like harass the enemy jungle a lot.
Okay. The new players that don't know how to play against Taka.
Well, no, I'm actually like, I haven't been playing in China very long, but I'm already up to hotness on my account. So, in China also, the Asian servers are pretty competitive, I think. But yeah, I mean, I do have like a really high win rate because I've been playing lower tiers. But I try to stick in lane, play like Kestrel a lot, play Scarf a lot, Saw, of course. I've always been a Saw fan. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Well, that's going to do it for episode 123. Owens, thanks for joining me. This was great.
Thanks for having me, Brad, and thanks for all you do with this show. It's awesome.
Thanks. Where can people follow you? Follow you on Twitter, and I'll include a link in your blog, right?
Yeah, definitely. Follow me on Twitter, just Owens_VG.
Cool.
I tweet a lot, and there's also a link to my blog from Twitter. So
cool, yeah, I'll link it up in the show notes and in the description as well. So everyone go over there, follow. If you have questions about being an analyst or about applying, definitely hit them up.
Yeah. So our analyst application is closing October 15th.
Okay.
Everybody who's watching this, give it a shot. If you have the mind and you like strategic thinking, I'd love to read your application. So, take some time, do it. You have nothing to lose.
Awesome.
Everything to gain.
Everything to gain. And you get to become a member of GankStars.
Yeah, exactly.
Shatter The Vain is on Twitter, @Shatter The Vain. Website, shatterthevain.com. All the episodes get posted there. Links to iTunes, Stitcher, the YouTube version as well. Go watch that if you're an audio listener and haven't seen the video version. Check it out. And I'll be back probably with I think 1.23 is going to drop this week. I don't know. It's close. Might be back with the next episode doing a rundown of that. So get ready for that. Take care.
Let's get this over with.